Welcome to the LinkedIn Power Lab webinar. Today is Halloween Day, 31st of October 2022, and the topic for today is magnetic LinkedIn presence. What you can see here is something which has some kind of magnetic feelings for myself. These are the Blue Mountains, actually also with a lovely rainbow on it. So thank you for joining from very far away, and I'm very happy to have also someone here who I know for 16 years. That's quite a lot. And I like that. Thank you, Andrew, for joining, and thank you for everyone else. I hope you can hear me well. I am connected actually also twice, so if there's something you would like to talk, please feel free to use the chat. And also, it would be very good if we could, if you can mute, I will mute everyone. If you want to speak up, please unmute yourself. So that's the best way how to handle that. So then let me get started. So the topic for today, magnetic LinkedIn presence, for those who don't know me yet or in a different type of, let's say, environment. So my name is Gunnar, a social media consultant. I'm blogging about social selling. I created, in the meantime, maybe 3 online courses, and I published 22 books with another one, at least one of them still to come for this calendar year in November. So if you would like to contribute something, please use the chat. That's the best way. And I will also have, for the 3 subtopics for today, I have a question for all of you and would like to get your response in it as well. So let's get started. What do I mean with magnetic LinkedIn presence? And this is something which I take typically the topic into 3 subtopics, which somehow have a sense in the flow. For this time, I thought first to get a magnetic presence, that means that people come to us. We need to have first a profile that has this magnetic feeling, that looks above the ordinary, above everyone else, to stand out while still being on our core what we want to do. So there's a task to refresh for all of us regularly. So that's number 1. Number 2, and many of you know that I love the same letter in the words. I put here pleasure, because we also have time to learn on LinkedIn. And from pleasure comes profit. So there is traction to earn. And of course, we don't pitch directly on LinkedIn. It makes no sense. But at least we have a chance to create this magnetic pull to utilize content for conversations that we can convert into whatever your purpose on advancing a business agenda is. Ideally, we have we win new clients to us, and that is the way how you can have profit. So it's a pleasure, from pleasure to profit. Profile, pleasure, profit. 3 topics, typically a handful of slides for all of these 3 topics, and starting with a question. But before I even do that, I thought, let me look into a little bit of a story. And this story has a very personal connection, at least with one of you being on the call today. That's Andrew or Andre. So when I say a magnetic profile, it means we have the chance to get into dialogues and talk to people, and ideally not just fresh prospects, but also those who we can nurture over time. And one day it can be of use. So here's an example. I went 2006, 16 years ago, I went to Grenoble in France to speak about a topic as a product manager, and I had the chance to talk about a book, to talk about what I learned from that. And I basically talked about what a presenter of the book, a co-author of the book, Michael Eckert, spoke to a team of other product managers. And there has been Andre. But then, 10 years after this, Michael Eckert from the US, he endorsed me. You might see this sometimes in LinkedIn as well. Somebody endorsed you for something. So that's nice. Why they do this? Why should I endorse someone? Because I only want to say hello. So for example, if I take Alicia, I know that you are very good in running events and organize lots of stuff. If I would like to talk to you and you don't react on my phone, you don't react on emails, I can endorse you for something. And then you might say, oh, that's nice. And you might want to say a thank you back. And that's how you can get into a dialogue after a long period of time. So then here I said, Michael, thanks for endorsing me for product management. Talk is the process we had there. And then he started writing. Thanks. I remember you. Congrats of your relocation to Sydney. Chat, chat, chat. And then I said later, well, there was a layoff in HP, so I would like to learn something, blah, blah, need to do some networking. And then he said, just a few minutes later, Gunnar, let me know if your networking would be helped by an introduction to Peter. So Peter is not yet on the call, but I know that he also registered for today, who's based in Sydney. And then I said, actually weeks later, when I had the chance to go back to Sydney, I said, hey, thanks for connecting. I just met him. So Peter, so this dialogue on LinkedIn got me my network of more than 8,000 people today. It was this little thing to connect with the right person. Out of this one, Peter and I have done a bit of an interview, recorded on this one. Peter wrote 2 books. Next week, Friday, in 4 days, the book review of his new book, Marketing, will be, that will come out. So that's good. Happy for this one. And due to this, due to one introduction from Michael, I met Peter, I met John Smilbert, I met Tony Hughes, I met Rahul, learned the social selling from him, and my whole life changed. Due to this, I also met Cian McLaughlin, another book author, at my first book review, which got me a job. My whole life changed. It started with an endorsement. So what does it tell you? If we have a magnetic profile, if people want to talk to us, it can open doors, massive doors. And that is something which I like a lot. Could also be a birthday wish. You could look every day who has birthday and then write some lines and people will be surprised. And for the birthday wish, what about not sending it on the day, but the day after? The person might have more time to respond than on the birthday. So take the chance to communicate using LinkedIn. And even when starting out, because having been there passively for a long time, it's a great way to get into that one. Connect with people, those you know, those who you met, and so on. But it requires a good profile. Let's have a look. And please, please, please answer in the chat. When did you update your profile the last time? So that question to everyone, I will write it as well. So when did you update your profile the last time? My answer, I think last week. Yeah, Lance, 3 weeks, well, 9 months. Yeah, I know. Yeah, we need to do anything on this. Andre, last week, I saw that many months ago, Steve. Yeah, can do something about it. Phil, 1 month ago, correct. Oh no, you said even 3 months ago. Yeah, but we're due to an update as well. Ben, months ago, correct. Remember, we spoke about that. And thanks for meeting you in Melbourne on Friday. Enjoyed that. So a couple of you say need to do or have done a while ago. Yeah, it's maybe not the everyday task. And my suggestion is once a year, a bigger type of reviewing what makes sense to change. But if there's something to add, you can always do this. So what becomes to that? Why would we actually do this? Let me compare. And some of you, they might go to networking events, they might meet some people in certain industries and then think, okay, I need a business coach maybe. But who would I choose? I do not pay my money first, and then after a while I realize, maybe not good. So it's like with many other topics, I would like to rather check it, find out early who I would like to work with, and that's the way how it goes. So how many seconds do we have to get a first impression? You know this from a CV, maybe 7 seconds. 2 examples. Number 1, Bruce. I know him, he's a fantastic coach. He's a business coaching, financial area, like a CFO, but his profile doesn't show this, unfortunately, despite plenty of mutual connections we have. So he's fantastic in that sense, but doesn't show. The next one here is Simon. In terms of the photos, both have good photos and they look like approachable, so that's fine. But Simon's profile shows much more. You can see not only that's a bit more colorful, but you have the feeling plenty of followers. Apparently he's well in demand and talks about, the profile shows what he's talking about and somehow a little bit better covered. The beauty on LinkedIn, it is like a standardized look and feel. You know where to find something compared to a website where you don't do that. So that makes it a big of a difference. Speaking of Simon, I know that also Simon from South Africa joined, but that's not you. This is Simon from Victoria. So, I bet you just said Simon wrote a post today about his welcoming smile. Yeah, and he has this genuine smile, which I like a lot. Yeah, finally I met him after years of knowing of him. So it shows obviously that Simon pays a little bit more attention on how he is perceived. It doesn't mean he's the better one when it comes to the service, but at least in terms of perception, and how social media is about perception, not facts. So therefore it looks actually quite good. So next one, let's go through an example. What are the most important elements? And that is Peter Strokoff, the one that I mentioned earlier, who was the first person, so to say, to get into my my introductions round. So what is included on his profile? So first one is the headline. And you can see instead of writing role at company, so Andrew or Andre, for you it always has been maybe a category manager at HP or retail sales manager at HP. I remember that. But here it's more about keyword rich, what you can do to help whom to achieve what. Peter Wright, he's a buyer-focused selling specialist. It's better than someone who only is a pitching salesperson. That's good. He's teaching. He has B2B in there. That's good. Even the areas, and even wrote about the website that he has there. He has, so that's the headline. In the past, it was short. In the meantime, it's as long as you can see here. But for the headline, the first about 60 characters, they count, because that is what people see in terms of when they comment on it. The rest is not as visible. Then the photo, and he's smiling, that's good, it's real life Peter. The background image is real estate. So remember beforehand, the picture on the left-hand side, Bruce had nothing there. And Peter actually has, and it looks good, because what he put out there is using the real estate with images and text. And that's quite nice. Location is there. The industry is actually hidden. Nobody sees this. Pay attention, it's the right one. The contact info, when you click on the blue contact info, he has a couple of ways how it can be reached. The worst thing is you need a supplier urgently, electrician, plumber, and you know of someone, you can compare them, but you don't find how to connect. Not good. The next one is the about section, which of course, I put it also in bold. That is a very important and very difficult piece to write. So then Phil, you are on the call. Phil and I, we had a couple of back and forth discussion about how to write his about section very well. That expresses his journey, his capabilities, the target audience, and what's the value for them to achieve what. But then I think, Phil, you've done a great job on that one. But many people don't pay attention, and that's not good. Of course, we need to have the experience section filled in, education certifications, and the skills are important as well, so that you can be found for something, and recommendation is good to have, because that's then like customer testimonials. And Peter is good on that one. And finally, a LinkedIn profile URL, linkedin.com/in/Gunnar Habitz, in my case, my full name, without anything cryptic, that I think maybe some of you still have. By the way, also thanks, John, for joining. So good to see you here as well. Thank you. So this is my top 10 list. Overall, I have a list of 33 items I looked into, but these are the top 10 that make sense to have. And then you can be better compared. On the first view, it looks like comprehensive. And for those who have seen profiles like this, something here is new. And I would like to go through this as well. LinkedIn introduced something which is called the creator mode, particularly for those who are content creators, who write regularly. So a great example here on the call is Simon Chapozo. You're awesome in the way how you create your content. Very visual, very visible. And the creator mode helps because you can add up to 5 hashtags that you normally serve. So here are mine: innovation, leadership, remote work, social selling, and digital transformation, and some of more items. It's great for those who share content often to build networks. These 5 hashtags are important. And then if you add this creator mode, then your whole whole profile is changed. Normally it would start with the about section and then your employment and so on. But here, the featured area where you can have certain posts, like you pin them on there, that they're more visible, they are there, and your activity, they all move up and the about section moves down. So that's on purpose the case. Even the connect button, this blue connect button, becomes follow, because the content creator needs to have people who they follow with the idea to have more than the magic 30,000. I'm far away from that one, but some of you might not. So that's the idea, to get followers. You can even add a service page that is something like a little landing page with a clear call to action. Peter has that. Let me actually show that to you how it looks like. If I go here, the creator modes allows Peter to have these talks about. There's 5 areas there. And at the bottom, this gray box, providing services. All of these are keywords that help. And if you would click on see all details, then you get a standardized landing page, which he filled in accordingly so that people can see what actually he's doing. And there's one call to action button. And I think for him, it was something like request a proposal or something. Very easy to make. LinkedIn made it to have it very easy to engage with people. And also some of the later introduced features can be used well with the creator mode. One of them being LinkedIn Audio. That's rather new in this year. Newsletters came maybe 1.5 years ago. Finally, I have mine as well. Every second week about, I called it Learn from Books. And of course, LinkedIn Live runs here as well nicely. So why we do this? What's the benefit? We can grab attention over the boring competition, especially everyone who provides a service / a product or our own service, where people would put you into a category: the electrician, the plumber, the family lawyer, the marketing agency. It's good to stand out. And that's what works quite well. So there was a question here. Where does Peter have his creator mode? You see, everyone has a creator mode you can recognize by these 5 hashtags that the people are talking about. And I have that as well. So another couple of items here, which makes it more personal. And I have an example of Sue Parker from Melbourne. Number 1, the name pronunciation. You see next to her name, a speaker logo. If you click on it, there are 10 seconds. Everybody might know how to say Sue Parker in an English speaking area, but even with my name, it's not easy. If it's Gunnar or if it would be Gunnar or whatever, therefore I can record it as well. But you can use it even to add something special. The other thing is you can see on her face a colorful circle that indicates that there is a video. So if you stay on a profile for a while, a couple of seconds, then a video is played in that round place. It looks quite nice, as long it doesn't look completely different optically from the still image. Both can be used for elevator pitching to make it even more magnetic, that you can see how does it look like, how does the person sound, how does the person speak. Quite good one. We see this with consultants and coaches, but rarely for corporate employees. And that's a funny thing with LinkedIn. I call it the consumerization from IT, that small business entrepreneurs they are much more advanced on LinkedIn today compared to 10 years ago when it was more on the corporate side. That's a nice one. But you need to record it on the mobile app. And then, even if that's brand new in this here, you can see at the bottom of her profile here, below Melbourne, there's written website and services here. That is a link that can be clicked quickly instead of going to contact info and then find some links, or to the about section and there find a link. You can even name it. She calls it website and services here, and Peter called it something different. It was there on the slides. Why we do this? What's the benefit? Present you more genuinely to the public, more magnetic, more to stand out, give more chances that people can respond. That's good. So that about the profile. Before I go on, if anyone any more further question, then we can type it in the chat, and I will talk later also how you can do this and I can help you on getting into this, for example, creator mode or whatever is there to advance the profile. So the other topic that I had, and some of you on the call might know why I call it like this. So John, you can see that my second topic is pleasure and the third one is profit. So you know where I take these two words from. So in the way why I say pleasure, I hear from many corporate employees and many also in small business that they say, oh, LinkedIn is work. Oh, I need to find another time for this. I don't have it. But if you add and transform part of the LinkedIn work as your own learning, then that's much better. Because if we want to share content, not just our services, but something around our capabilities, our industry, then you find something that you can learn from. Whatever other platforms they are where you find content. And a good example here is Bell on the call, because you share at least weekly something nice that you find that fits into your wellness, health, well-being type of area to cheer people up, especially on Monday mornings. And that's great. So I think it has a pleasure for yourself in finding this type of content and then sharing it and seeing the reaction of others. I think that is also uplifting, and that's what I like. So question to you. Assuming one day you shared a post. So what do you remember from a recent post you commented on? So a typo in the chat. 1 moment. What do you remember? I need to send it to everyone. Alicia, you remember the image on something that you comment on. That's good. But what type of topics do you remember, whatever you commented on? There's so much that we comment. That's nice. That's not an easy one. So some of you are commenting maybe only once per week. But if you do this for 10 minutes a day, you can learn quite a bit. Bill, new job, work anniversary. Yeah, also. From my side, I remember new job of ex-colleague, which I commented on, but also uplifting post from Bell today morning. Corporate culture, yeah. Promotion of a friend, exactly, Bell. So that's good. That's nice. But even it has a good of a sales view to comment on someone else's post, to find out, oh, the person joined that company, who is backfilling the former role. You can do a lot on it. But commenting is something which is good. So Sylvia, thanking an event organizer for a grand event helped. That's a good idea. And Linda, you wrote copywriter who gives tips on how to write posts. Oh, please share that. Keen to hear that. That's a good one. And Lance, sharing a new released book. Okay, I sent you mine once I'm ready. We're happy to get some kind of comment as well. So let's get on. So commenting is a great way to find a voice. So take this one. And Frank, as you're on the call, you recognize maybe a little bit that I put you on the left-hand side in the background here. I always tell it like this. I've been looking one day for panel speakers to an event, ideally in risk consulting. And I thought, how can I find them? So I sent a post and I had a couple of people joining the discussion. I've done it a couple of times. It's so nice to then see the capabilities and the experience and the way how people can talk about it. So then one of those is here actually in the call, which is Ben Sreltus from who I met in Melbourne last week after some years of working earlier together. I really like this to see these dialogues. In the example in the background, Franks started to comment something, and then I commented further, and then Wayne Maloney came in, and then it was a dialogue over a couple of people. And that's, of course, good. The idea is to then take this further. So here, yeah, Belly also said, commented on a share from Simon. Yeah, that's Melbourne Simon, exactly. So that's a good one. And without commenting, I must say that Simon Shaposo from South Africa would surely not attend this call. He would surely not have a 1 hour call last week, Friday. But we started our engagement just on commenting. He commented on one creator's post, I did, then we connected and we found potential ways of collaboration. It starts with commenting, and that is the beauty on it. And let me share an example how it can work well when you share something further from somewhere. So you have two options with content. You curate it, meaning you find something and share it with your audience, or you create by yourself. Some people say if you take content that leads away from LinkedIn, then LinkedIn doesn't like it, but actually it's not really the case anymore. So here's an example for me last year. So I wrote, so instead of just sharing a piece of content about electrical vehicles, I commented it accordingly. And then, so I found a good piece of content. I started with a hook and a provocative question, because the first 3 lines, they count. And when there's a button called See More, I want people to click on See More because that helps spreading my content. Doesn't matter if it's curated or created. I summarize the key takeaways so somebody who goes on my post can find out if they should actually read it or not, the article itself. Some only share a link without anything, so then it means there's no hook, it makes no sense. So then I kept the post brief enough to encourage reading, and I had plenty of white lines. These white lines are important. People scroll down, so down is not an issue. But if the text is too much of a block, like some book writers from the 19th century, like Franz Kafka, then nobody will read it. So need to look fresh, only short, because of the attention span. I kept it brief. I tagged the original author, Michelle Lewis. Therefore, I connected with her. That's one of the ways how I can get into a conversation. And I used 5 hashtags, only 5. Ideally, it's somehow 3 to 6, surely not more than 10, because that looks like spamming. And I pay attention to the hashtags. If I would choose hashtags which are an expression of a feeling, like in Instagram, in the sense of Halloween in Sydney, nobody is looking for that. But here, I picked up hashtags like innovation, which has 39 million followers, quite a bit. Energy has a lot, sustainability has a lot. And I checked that beforehand, which is a good hashtag to use for this. So many people who would like or comment on posts related to that particular hashtag, they would also most likely see my piece of content. That's how the algorithm works. And have a look. Not that the views or impressions are so important, but when you see from a funnel point of view, you need to put many people at the top so that at the end, somebody first views it, then likes it, then comments it. 574 likes, they count more for me than the 150,000 views, and then 55 comments. Not too bad. 20 people shared it further. And typically, those people shared it further, I didn't know them. Mostly they didn't even add anything on it. But I had a chance to connect with many more people, very much relating into topics like innovations. That's good. So that's an example how that would work. So the question, of course, how to convert it, then get into conversation. You start with good content, you make it so that people can also respond to it and comment more than just thank you, nice post, but something more. And then you get into a direct comment, write directly to them. Thanks for liking this post every Monday morning. It looks like you resonate well with this. Is there anything how I can help you with? Or do we want to set up a call or something like that, as Simon and I did last week? So that is, of course, then the working part of it. And then what I really suggest is to have some kind of vehicle for your ideas. That can be just a book, something you can write in directly, can be on even on paper, something like a normal book, or it can be, of course, electronically. So I would have, for example, for every year I have a Word file where I simply type everything in. I attend an event, I type on it on the phone, synchronize to OneDrive. I sit on my computer, I attend a webinar, I type in it, and then I phrase it into an article when it's ready for that. When you normally sit in front of a white screen, you don't know what to do. But if you have ideas somewhere in a scrapbook, it's much better. But which formats can we then use? Let me show you some. Formats can be text with images, text with carousel, text with document, like a PDF document, very good. And if you do the documents not like a traditional Word file or a full PowerPoint, but more you use tools like Canva, have them maybe in a square format with few words on it. Simon Chapozo, you are a brilliant example. You have your own color, all yellow, and engaging. People want to see through. You tell a story in this document. But that's good. That's not good. That's brilliant. You can use text-only posts, but they need to be written very well that they grab attention. You can use videos, and Peter Strokorp is one of them who use a lot of videos. I had one this year, which was last week, otherwise not. And you can use a newsletter. You can have only one, and this newsletter has some kind of regularity. People can subscribe to it. And every time there's a new edition of it, then they get it. But be careful on the rhythm. So I put it as bi-weekly so that I can really do that. Otherwise, it makes no sense. And you can do a poll, but they've been overused. So I put it in brackets. But still, when you know you would write, maybe use a text with images, the question is on what? And my view here is use templates. Something like a list post, the 5 best things, whatever it is, a list of something. You can have a 5, 7, which is a symbolic number of mastery, or just 4 or 5. It's easy to remember. Whatever you do, you went to that event and you learned this, or webinar. You make a picture of it, and then you write your take on it. Sometimes I've been sitting in a physical meeting and simply type directly into a LinkedIn post what I want to talk about it. Possible. You can put it, you can create yourself a template for a curiosity-driven question post. Simply ask that. Ask people a question. You can take customer stories. And customer stories in the sense of not why you sold something to someone, but what did they do with that? So Andre, take you as an example, coming from the IT hardware side. You would not say how many notebooks NVIDIA bought. Together we have done the biggest deal in my history, but rather what their customers are doing with it, how they feel about it. What is the learning for others about a customer story? And then a result post. And result, again, is not our result in the sense of we got to President Club, but rather the next person in line, what they do with this. that makes most sense. So for example, as we have Melbourne Cup tomorrow, Ben and we have been in Melbourne a good 3 years ago and wanted to sell a crisis management solution to the race court over there. Unfortunately, we came a little bit too late after they had a big trouble. But a result in case of positive would have been what the outcome would have been compared to scenario before and after in the view of the client or their clients. That's how that should go. And then you can create this once and you can even reuse it. So in my scrapbook, where I have also every post I've done in the year with the real text, with the link whenever it happened. So I can always go back, take it, and slightly change and post again. There was one question here from Phil, the carousel. With carousel, what I mean, maybe a bit more Instagram word, a picture with more images than once that can go through. LinkedIn is currently changing this a little bit so that they look that you can press next, 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 instead of seeing all at once. But it means more than one image. Example of templates. I use always the same one once a week in my Social Selling Monday series, where I always write, I grab attention on something, then I explain why this is an issue that needs to be done. And then I add 4 items, 4 tips how to achieve this. And I stop with the question that somehow entices the readers to comment on it. And that has been working well for 205 weeks in a row. So when I do not know, and it's time to post it again, then I think, okay, I could talk about, as it's social selling related, into, for example, how to connect well with people. So I look in my list when I have done the same thing, I copy the whole body of the text, post it again with some kind of changes. That's how that would work. Yeah, Alicia, how to create that carousel? Simply upload more pictures than one in it natively, and also with third-party product like Hootsuite. That's how that would work. So create once and reuse, because one of the gurus, Justin Welch, content gurus, he would say, people don't see that you already posted it, right? And those who see, they don't even remember. It doesn't matter. So use it again. So another question here, do you think posting around your subject matter on a certain day every week is a good way to build up your audience? Yes. You can, of course, post every day about it, but then people one day might see too much of it. So I think, and we need to work as well. So therefore, if you post just once per week on something concrete, it might look well. So my way, my method to choose content has a name. And I'm a fan of abbreviations. I learned it back in the day when Andre and I worked together. They all had 3 letters, but now I've chosen one with 6. And for whatever reason, by accident, it turns into Trello. For those who don't know, Trello is a software vendor that's been acquired by an Australian company called Atlassian. So logo looks different now than what I have here, but a Trello board is where you can put a structure of a project. Like this is one of my online courses, to put an idea how it might look like. That's what a Trello board is. But I use that term for something completely different, for the 6 directions of my content. The first is trust. We want to become the people who become the person who others know, like, and trust. So that's we need to build. The second one is all about results. And that is not bragging how much money we made, but it's rather showing how our solutions contribute to the next party, like customers or partners, and what they do with that. That's good, and it feels good. Enthusiasm, that's what should be transported in the post. Learning, and I don't put here teaching on purpose. I prefer to be the one who learns something and shares connected with my experience, compared to being the teacher who says this, how you need to act. Therefore, it's learning and the lifestyle, which again is not bragging about the Lamborghini I have or don't have actually, but rather lifestyle, the inclusivity of all my surroundings here. For example, when COVID started and people worked from home, lifestyle also means how you support your environment, your ecosystem, your neighborhood. Take the coffee over here instead of going to the city. All of this kind of lifestyle or changes how you work from home, whatever. And then finally, letter number 6, opportunity. 6, in 1 out of 6 letters, we talk about what we do. And we can do it in a very nice way. So that's one gentleman who I know from BNI here in Sydney. His name is Richard Bowman. Bow like the bow tie. And he actually is a tailor. And he writes it in a very humorous way, the way how he shares some of these menswear, the suits that he creates on measurement, and he shares this in a very nice way. Not bragging, you can buy this for that price, or I'm the only one who has this type of Brioni suits or something like this, but rather showing a story about it. But 4 Ps, provide value in all posts. And also, Simon, you're one of those who can do it very well. Post once per day, max. So if you post more than once, you need to have a large following that it doesn't matter. But otherwise, if you have a nice post in the morning and then you post something in the afternoon on the same day, then the algorithm might take away the potential from the earlier post that you might have received and puts it to the second one. So you basically it divides the reach, so to say, not necessarily good. Unless you have hundreds or thousands of followers, I suggest we don't do that. Pitch never. And produce in batches. Batches is something important in that sense that you do not sit and think about, I want to post, I have now 15 minutes, but how can I do it? I prefer simply to go maybe on a Sunday, take an hour away, produce maybe 2 or 3 pieces of content and schedule them. That's an important thing. Another question here came in, how to use keywords. Yeah, I use keywords in the post as well. I have a list of those keywords, depending the topic I would like to talk about, that I make sure that they are included, because LinkedIn also is good for search engine optimization. And here's an example where I combine a visual appealing way with text. So you can see the post looks like just a text post, but it's not. The text has only the 3 lines. How to tell a good story on LinkedIn? And then follow this formula. But the rest is a picture. It's a screenshot from Twitter. They have done exactly the same story as on this slide. And that works well. And it sits in the Twitter amount of characters, which is, as we know, not that many, 280. So it's another way to get the message across, because normally people don't see that much of text, not that many lines. They only see 3 lines if there's a picture, or 5 lines otherwise. But here you can get it done. So I don't even care if people see it on Twitter. I'm not that active on it. Should, but still not. So, but I use it on LinkedIn. Goes quite nice. So therefore, another question here, the keywords you are referring to, no, Trello is only these trust, results, enthusiasm, learning, lifestyle, opportunity, which are not keywords in that sense, but it's just a mindset of topics, how it fits together. So the ingredients, so to say, how I create my post. Maybe in 1 week of 7 days and 6 of these letters, you can guess quite often I serve each letter per week. So when we have done that, when our profile looks great, and when the pleasure part is there, and I really take the mindset of getting away from treating it purely as work and a must to do we don't like, into a pleasure of what do you want to do, then we can also earn the profit. So John, you and I would potentially then maybe say, so that pleasure and profit may be the result. You know the sentence, so exactly there. Question to you, to all of you, how often do you follow up with your connections? How often do you follow up with your connections? Big question mark. Me, daily. And the follow-up can be everything. Follow-up can be just a birthday wish. Follow-up can be that I read a nice post and then do something with it. Or I read, or somebody comments on my post. I comment on theirs, whatever it is, and then I reach out to them. Ideally, taking a bit of time. But I don't see any responses yet. So, here, Alicia, at least once a week. Depends on whether there's a reason to do so. Sometimes you don't know the reason until you do it. So infrequently, Phil. I know that my teacher in physics in school, he would say regularly, meaning never. But that's not how I want it as regularly. So yes, Simon, awesome. I get something. Good one. Yeah, and here, Bell, you do not send direct message, but to respond on their post. Yes, I think you're great in commenting. So I really like that. But if you can then maybe put on a piece of paper, something on the days when you have posts and you get the comments from them, write down those names that it makes sense to follow up with, take your time away, half an hour later in that day, and then to do direct messages. It even works on the phone, but you have only one screen of the phone. You cannot have the post open at the same time the direct messaging open. It's difficult to do. So therefore, putting on the paper somewhere is good. All in, same day. Yeah, good one. Well, maybe you don't have that many as Simon has. But anyway, so also Lance daily is good. Yeah, that's correct. People will forget otherwise. Attention span is short. So let's get further. So if we do this regularly, if we comment with people, if we then reach out to them, then they might even think, oh, hang on, let's click on the profile of the person. So then I have done this just a fresh who viewed my profile. And maybe not that many as some others have, like Simon, yours might be more. But at least it shows a couple of peaks when some content really rocked wild, so more people looked at it. And that is the LinkedIn Premium approach, who viewed profile in the past 90 days. And there's even a chance to filter. And there's one interesting thing, particularly Andre, as you can see, there's HP. I left 6 years ago, but still HP folks view my profile. And that's not only yourself. So that's interesting. Or my partner companies like Meltwater, my employers go to today, who'd see beforehand, and people I work with. So it's interesting to really observe who watched the profile. So at least, so if you have Premium, it makes sense on a weekly basis to sit there 15 minutes, go through this and have, so below this screen would be all of those people, find out who's the second grade connection or third grade not connected with, right click their profile, see if it makes sense to even connect with them for whatever other reason. Or the first grade connection and find out, oh, hang on, how comes that person looked at my profile? For example, Andre, I saw that. Oh, that's nice. Haven't spoken in a while. So let's reach out and chat. And here we are. So it really makes sense to do this. If you don't have Premium, you only see the last 5 people. So therefore, that for me is worth Premium, because then if I create content that gets people to my profile, of course, I would like to do something with it. I would like to convert. So I need to know who engages with this. I see who comments. I see who likes it. In this way, I can see also who views my profile. Very good. And then when I do this, and the question is, so what? people view our profile, they engage with content or not. So what we can do with that, ideally, we add them into our network. And when we do that, that helps, but not just future clients. So we don't need just prospects in the network. Also consider existing clients, suppliers, supporters, and influencers. Who are they? Existing clients, obviously someone that we worked with. Andre, you can guess, I can still see what some people of our ecosystem that we both served together, what they are doing, like Gubano, for example. I see that, where they move to and so on. It's interesting. And one day, the time comes and I need to talk to him, or he will talk to me. Existing clients, from a marketing point of view, are more likely to repurchase something or redo business with it compared to finding new prospects. Suppliers means those who did something that we buy to get some bigger outcome for the next party, so to say, like how the potato gets to the restaurant and they then create a full meal out of it, and. So therefore, I'm in the partner business. For me, that's the most important thing. Supporters are those which are cheering on the sideline and want to see you growing. And I'm very happy that I call some of them here also on the call. And influencer are not necessarily, let's say, all of these ladies on Instagram, how they position themselves and earn a hell of money with free flights and hotels. But an influencer for me is someone who is an expert in their field, who's an opinion leader. Maybe Ben and I, when we talked about business continuity, maybe someone who's in whatever type of institution regarding that. Or take Australian Institute of Company Directors, those people who maybe have some saying over there. This type of influence and opinion makers, despite all politics around that, but at least that's what I mean. So we need them in our network because many of those, they bring also large networks. And we want to tap in that. The most important people are not necessarily the first grade, but the second grade. But we need the first grade people to build the bridge. So therefore, question here, just timely on that. In the chat, it's a good idea to make your first grade, your second grade connection, first grade. Yes and no. Yes, if you can think creatively that they might be good. They might have a good network. They're the same, whatever, industry, territory, whatever they are. Yes, not always, but it's worth looking at it. So we need to find it out. That's the number of people who connect or follow me are second grade and not first grade. That's good. That's how we increase. The second grade is already second grade instead of a third. But if we do that, then it's all about how we can move from a pure collecting into connecting. That gets it more magnetic. So therefore, what I say, what's the profile to prepare your hook? Ideally, with a large screen, you have plenty of open profiles in your browser, and then you can look into it. As an example, I went to an event just in Melbourne, and then I checked. I met plenty of people over there. There came some from even larger companies in the IT area. So of course, how can you really connect that quickly? You can only press on the connect button because time is limited, but then you need to write to them. If I meet someone just online, I make sure that I prepare a hook, because connecting with a personalized message might take time, but it helps you to remember. I have no clue about the name of the people who are all met. I have range of business cards here. I can see it, but I remember the discussion. So then I can connect with them and put a message. Hey, we met on that event from the distributor leader in Melbourne, and we talked about remote management for your clients located in the area of Ballarat, for example. So then later, when I think about who was that person, I can type in, because LinkedIn messaging is a fantastic search, and no, maybe not fantastic, but good enough search engine. So personalized invite is a good thing. If I would normally connect with someone, link on the desktop, LinkedIn would even say, would you like to add a note? Okay, I can, I don't have to, but I always say, yes, I do. And then I add something. For example, this one here, a gentleman called Joseph, and we talked to him about something called Bright Talk, which is a platform to host some podcasts or webinar calls. So then I have that, and I have about 10 connection templates in a Google Doc, which you can simply grab instead of writing again. And here's the gentleman over there. Unfortunately, on the mobile app, I would click on connect, or people would normally do click on connect, and then you don't have the chance for it, because this window on the left-hand side, the question, would you like to add a personalized invite, is not there. But it is. If you click on these 3 dots, I'm always curious when I see dots, but it means something else than the 2 button of connect and message. And then I have all the menu, and there's a personalized invite, and then I'm there. So some gurus, they say that the higher up you go, let's say to the C-level, a CEO of a large organization might better respond to an invitation without a personalized invite. Yes, agree, but they don't accept everyone anyway. So then when they realize, I met the person, yeah, okay, I take it, I know who it is, then it's fine. But for me, I take it like a search engine, so it's good to know. And then I have my hook in the message, in the sense of, hey, we met on my social selling meetup event in Sydney in May. It would be great to connect with you. And then later, I want to know who the people were that I met. I type in the LinkedIn messaging, social selling meetup Sydney, May, whatever these words, and then I get all the messages relating to that. That's how that works. Linda also wrote something like another way is are Boolean searches to find second-rate connections. That's correct in the search bar. Booleans means and, or, not, as a bit mathematical way to connect. Particularly those who work with LinkedIn Sales Navigator, they know that. Very good way. Yeah. Good. So that at least is a personalized part of it, and you can make it more magnetic, more human. So a question about this particular connection. Yeah, BrightTalk is just one of these type of services where I can get content from, where I can find some webinars. And Peter Strohkop, who I mentioned earlier, he has been on that. One of his webinars sits on there. From our company, it sits on there. And I thought it might be a good way, taking BrightTalk as a supplier and to have some connections in there. Strategically, they know plenty of people who are content creators who are sharing some stuff in there. Joseph wanted to sell me a subscription. I've been not so fancy of that one, but the more people I know in that organization gets me potentially an open door if I want to host a webinar to the public, which will be published on BrightTalk. So if I come out of the blue, nobody knows me, makes no sense. But if I warm up connection with Joseph and his team on LinkedIn, looks much nicer. That was the purpose of it. So how we can handle all of that one, knowing that we're already talking quite a while, a bit over time. Action plan, inbound, check comments, reply, accept incoming requests, introduce those with other people. Sylvia, you're a master in that, connecting people together. Reply to triggers, role change and burst, we talked about it. Check review the profile, like the premium part of it. And outbound activity. And I say all of this 30 minutes a day is enough for that. Connect with the right people. I had a target to connect with 100 per month for a while. Now I have a target, I should be at 9,000 by end of the year. I'm at 8,300. Time to go. Commenting on posts, share relevant content, write my own material, 3 to 5 per week. It's enough for me. Sorry for wrong order, apply social listening to the market, listen into what's out there, sending direct messages, utilizing voice and video. That's good stuff. So then, summary for today. Couple of things as on the slide before on the profile, what to do. On the pleasure, it's all about content. And for me, it is pleasure. If we change our mind, that's something nice because we learn and we can share, then we have a much more magnetic feeling around that. And then we can also get into earning in the sense of get the right level of people, send engaging messages, and turn conversations into conversion, meaning people might buy from us or whatever other way you want to enhance your agenda. Alicia, you have a lot of events. You would like to have people coming there and enjoy that your topics that you talk that get further, for example, same for Linda. So that is what I wanted to prepare. Further question, please shoot in the chat. And there was a question earlier how I can help on that one. So which are the LinkedIn challenges that I often see? And some of you might confirm this, hopefully. Many people are overcautious, do not really know how to, and then they stay in a group behind and another one goes really first. Some are overwhelmed because there's far too much of maybe unrelevant stuff over there, and others are overthinking and start to wait until it's perfect. 3 times O. So how we can help here? How can we improve? I have 3 things to do on one to offer. One is my organic LinkedIn course. I think Phil, you might have access to this one. Yeah, value as well. Then I can help on refresh the profile, and I can also have a one-on-one coaching. So Phil, you and I went through this one, a couple of sessions to ensure that we get into a proper next level for your business on this one. So these are the 3 things what I'm doing. You will receive the slides where all these 3 items also have clickable links because I'm happy to help further. So about the course itself, my online course has 4, actually not 3, but 4 modules, and they also are the same that I have in my upcoming book about social selling. So completing your online presence, how to connect, how to work with content, and how to convert. 4 times C. At the end, even 3 times E. And then how to get started. Here is the website where you can find my course. The course only, or you can even add then also profile refresh. And for those who buy both together, then I can also get a LinkedIn page, which is company page, not profile. Because many, like at the beginning, we had Bruce Wall, who don't have one, but should have one. Looks better. So they can do together. That's how that would work. And then I would like to hand over to you. It's your turn. If you want to set up a call, here's my link on Calendly. And happy to have a free discussion to find out if I can hear you, and keen also to hear about your content. So that's what I prepared for today. There's a further question here from Frank. Do you clean out your connection sometimes? I do. I just reduced my Instagram from nearly 1,000 into 700. Too many irrelevant people who send something that I don't need. On LinkedIn, I do as well. Not colleagues from good old times, otherwise Andre would not be here, but rather those which are really not relevant, or those who have proven to be just a pitcher, who want to sell their stuff without even engaging properly. I get rid of them. So, and then another question, what is Bright Talk? Not Right Talk, Bright Talk, that was the website where you can get some webinars on there. It's a content platform which costs sometimes something. Any further questions from anyone from you? I will read all of them what you wrote. Thank you for all of the contribution in the meantime. That's very kind. Somebody already said would like to refresh the profiles. That is good. That is basically what I have here, the course and then the profile refresh. That's how I can add some kind of labor inside by myself. I'm happy to help out. I'm very happy for that. Any further questions from any one of you who's still on the call? Andre, Alicia, thanks for joining. John, we need to have a follow-up as well. Lance, you and I share the stage on an event on 17th or 18th of November. That's
Excuse me, Gunnar, I know I'm talking. But
Yeah,
I'd like
hey.
you just to remind us, because you've given us great content tonight, thank you. But just about when you said if you connect a lot with people who you make a list of the people who regularly comment on your post and you want to build up more of a connection, not just on their comments in their posts, but you want to set up a call or you want to send a direct message. Could you just give the audience a little bit of a tip about how to do that? Just because that's where I'm weak. I may not be the only one to share that with us, please. A little bit about how you, because you do that so nicely, how you have that nice little simple open comment, yet it's a very good way to get to know the people better.
Yeah, what I typically would do, it's for two ways. If I'm mobile on the road or if I'm at my computer. If I'm on my road, I have a little book with me where I can then simply write and make a list of who I would like to reach out on LinkedIn because they might have commented something. When I'm back at my desk, then I can follow that up. On my desktop as well, I have a Google Sheet with that, more than a Google Doc, actually Google Sheet, where then I can type that in, some name that comes into my mind so that I ensure that I do not forget them. And
like a little template, like your little template you took.
A table, a Google Sheet.
Table. Thank you.
And even if I just write it on something like the notes, Google Notes, Apple Notes, whatever, but I need to revisit that. Otherwise, it's like you write a shopping list, and then when you're at the shop, you don't have it. Makes no sense. So need to have at least a standardized way to have that and reach out, and that makes sense. And the tricky thing is not to follow up too often, not to go on the nerves of people. But if you don't do, people have other stuff that might be more important in that moment. And some people are really then happy that I would reach out again. If I wait too long,
I find that very tricky. Sometimes, yeah, I find that very tricky. Sometimes people write to you on a personal message, you respond, then you don't hear from them and the whole magic and the energy's gone. And you think you've done everything at the perfect moment, but that's really tricky to get that right. It's very hard.
I know. It also depends on the timing, that you need to get the people ideally when they have a likelihood to respond to it. So if you would do it maybe after an evening event and you go to LinkedIn at 11:30 and you say you take your half an hour to write with everyone, they don't do it then. There's no chance for a chat because they might sleep already. And next morning, something else came into the feed overnight. So then ideally do it at a time that makes more sense. Early morning?
Yeah,
early morning, or maybe from starting 5:30 to 6:30. So the traditional commute time, knowing that not everyone has it anymore, is good for that.
Or early morning, like 6 or 7 in the morning or something.
Yeah, starting before breakfast.
Okay.
Yeah. But depending the time zone of people, of course. When I talk to some which are in Queensland, that was 1 hour difference, or in Western Australia, it's of course different. Europe and US, of course, counting the hours differently.
A bit of potluck then.
Yeah, well,
thank you.
You see it. You can also see by when people typically post or react on something, and that means that then they might be ready. So if you would, for example, if you posted today in the morning, similar things every morning, Monday, and you see that always the same people are commenting on it. So take someone like Christine Bell, for example, then you know at which time she is normally online. So then you can say on a completely different day, like on a Friday, on a Wednesday, at that time when she normally would respond or reply, or let's say put a comment, use the same time and comment yourself or reach out to her. But there's a likelihood in her rhythm that might be the time when she's online. But it requires a bit of observation to it.
Yeah.
For those who have LinkedIn Sales Navigator, that's easy because that is the tool to write it all in there. That's why LinkedIn has that, and therefore it costs a lot of money.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Gunnar.
Good, cool. So many of
Hello.
you still there. Happy for that. Thank you, Lance, for your comment. Andre as well, Simon.
Gunnar,
Yes.
there used to be a function so that like when you were at an event, you could turn this on and it would like show people who were in the room.
Yeah, I know.
Get rid of that.
Yes, there's two of them. One is a one-to-one connection that is still there. That you show
One-to-one.
the one-to-one. You show the QR code. You go in the search bar, but you need to click on it. Then you see a QR code, and you can show this to the person around you. That works. But a one-to-many approach, it used to be called Find Nearby.
Yeah.
It's gone. LinkedIn took it off temporarily at the beginning of the pandemic because it encourages people to be together, what we have been told by governments not to do anymore. So therefore, they didn't want to have it. And I hope one day it comes back because it was nice.
Yeah.
The only thing, this Find Nearby needs to be orchestrated. So an event organizer like yourself would say, now let's all go to this place. Let's all go to Find Nearby. Click on it. You see who's there. And the only thing you can then do there is basically to connect. So that's why how people got maybe plenty of connections, but they have no clue who the people are. I would then the next day follow up and then go through all those are connected with. I would create a template and I have it somewhere there, which says, hi, first name. Great meeting you yesterday at that event that was called, where we have done this Find Nearby function. It would be great also to learn more about you. And you can't believe, even when you sent it, I've done it maybe 30 of them while commuting by ferry within 15 minutes. And how much response I got back. And then it started to engage with people. Otherwise, just would be a number.
Yeah. Okay.
That's how we can move from collecting into connecting. Good one. Okay. Thank you. Thanks to everyone. So thanks for all the comments. Really appreciate. So that's very kind. What I will do now from here, I will basically take the send you the slides tomorrow, basically exactly 12 hours afterwards. For everyone who opted in to receive emails from me automatically, you will receive the email with the recording itself and also with the slides with clickable links. And then we can take it from there. And yes, there's another follow-up email coming, I think in a couple of days as well. I love email automation. Good. Anyone else happy to help and support? Some of you I know have reached out and would like to get some help on their profiles. And
I would
happy to
love
do
it if you had one day a face-to-face event, Gunnar, now that we're allowed to at some stage. I know you talked about it once to me on a
Yeah.
telephone call, so that would be something lovely, like Alicia was talking about, because I think when you talked about, and what Alicia asked, and how when you meet people after you meet them face-to-face and you connect, I think much easier than just doing it all online through LinkedIn. It's a much nicer way. It makes us, reminds us we're actually human beings and not robots. Yeah.
Yes, and you tell this to me as I'm working at a software company who provides remote management software, that we can connect the world electronically.
Yes, but you have many hats, Gunnar. We know that. That's not your only hat. Literally.
Speaking of. Yeah,
You look lovely,
exactly.
that hat. I love it.
Thank you.
It looks so
All good.
cool.
So
Thank you.
thanks everyone for joining the call. I appreciate it a lot. And yeah, happy to chat further. Thank you. Also, Andre, you're the one who I know
Thank you.
longest time from everyone. I think at least 16 years. And I really appreciate the connection and that you are back here on my calls. Really enjoy that. Good seeing
Thank
you.
you, Gunnar.
Let's follow
Thank
up.
you, Gunnar. Yeah, stay
Thank
in
you.
touch. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.